welcome to the Science Faction Podcast, where science meets fact meets fiction.
This is Science Faction for the week of June 16th, 2025. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Dominguez, and with me today, two happy daddies.
What's up? I'm Benjamin Daniel Lawless. So happy.
Devon Kraft. I guess I'm happy.
If you're happy and you know it, you're on this podcast.
Boo.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be here all day.
It was Father's Day yesterday, so we did not record on our usual time. Welcome to Monday, everyone. Happy Father's Day, guys. We're all daddies here.
Right.
And tell me about it. Did you have a good Father's Day, Ben?
Yeah, I did. Well, I mean, I got to see you, Stephen, so that made it really nice.
That was awesome. We had a
thanks
nice
for feeding
dinner.
me and my family some turkey burgers. That was really nice.
Of course.
Before that got so for my son's birthday, which was a couple, I guess, less than a week ago, I gave him all right, there's a problem, right?
Okay.
With the world and gift giving and the like. And the problem is thus: you make a card, or you get a card and you give it to somebody, and now they have to think, what do I do with this? Does it go into a book, into a box, into whatever? And then that also informs the questions before, which is, oh gosh, this thing is coming up, and I'm going to go buy a card, and there's a lot of questions and answers that have to happen. And what if we just smoothed over all those rough edges?
Yeah.
And
smooth it, bro.
And so, right. So a couple of years ago, my wife and I, we exchanged, for one of our holidays we were celebrating, we exchanged just a nice moleskin notebook that we could write letters to one another in over the course of the years. And that kind of it both solves the problem of, oh, how am I going to go get a card? You don't need to get a card. I'd rather just get a letter anyway, or a drawing or whatever from her. And then at the end of the day, I don't need to find a place to put it. It's already in the place it will live forever.
I think that's a genius idea, because buying a card, it's like, all right, I need to go buy a $4-5, whatever it is, piece of trash that's going to have some really important things written in it, hopefully, but it's still trash. But you've solved the trash part of it and the keeping the sentiment part of it.
Right.
That's pretty cool,
it
man.
also is, it's one of those things where oftentimes when you get a card, and I mean, no, I'm not throwing any shade on people giving cards. If that's your jam, go for it. That's totally cool, But for me, I think a lot about, well, hey, I'm when I give a card, sometimes what's written in there sounds better than anything I think I could come up with. And so it actually discourages you, because there's so much writing in this card, from having something come from your heart.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
I can see that.
Yeah. So all that being said, I did this the pilot program with my wife a couple of years ago, and it's gone pretty well. Whenever there's a major thing, like a birthday, anniversary, or whatever, we write letters to them, and we already have them in this notebook. We can refer back to them and look at the history of it. And so this year, Flint's 12, I was like, hey, let's I gave him 3 sketchbooks, and one for each of us. So one for us to give to him things, and draw things and write things in, and then one for each of me and my wife. And so he made me this amazing drawing of, in Scott Pilgrim Takes Off style.
That is pretty cool.
Benjamin Lawless versus taxes fight.
And you're holding up the stop sign that you use it as your crossing guard duty. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's just like this is really cool. Like I'm so glad to have this, and what a great first page in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so did that. Had a nice lunch with my father-in-law and his girlfriend, and then we went to go see You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown at Slow Repertory Theater. And
how many kicked footballs out of missed kick footballs did you give that?
It was a fine performance, but I do have to say that it takes a little bit of time to watch grown adults play 6-year-olds. You know?
Yeah.
Like there was some cognitive dissonance I had to get over.
Okay.
But by the second half, I was invested. Great.
You were locked in.
Yeah, for sure.
Excellent.
But yeah. Devon, how about you, man? Happy Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day. We went to a play. We went and saw Annie at a theater here, which was good. There were, it's got a cast of mostly kids. They all did really well. Our kids went with us, and they sat through most of it. They sat through all of it, but Nolan in the second half was pretty antsy. So that was fun.
Fair enough.
The day before on Saturday night, we went to the No Kings rally here, where they had all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah.
And we brought our kids to that, and they enjoyed that for the most part. Luckily, it was at a park that had a splash pad and a playground. So once they got bored, and it was really hot, so they went and played.
Right on.
Yeah, like was it well attended?
Yeah, it was really well attended. I don't know the number, but definitely in the hundreds, if not like 1,000 people.
Beautiful.
And
that's awesome.
And that was here in Tyler. I mean, that wasn't like we went to Dallas or anything. That was here in Tyler. And there was a lot of people honking in support. Of course, there were some people flipping us off. I only counted like 5 or 6 people flipping us off. There was one guy in like a huge truck with a bunch of Trump flags, and he just kept circling the block.
That sounds familiar. Keep going.
Yeah, there seems to be. Yeah, it happens. But yeah, it was fun.
Right on. Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. I
had seen.
According to Google AI, 1,000 people were there. That's based on the Tyler Morning Telegraph. Says there were more than 1,000 people.
Right on.
Cool.
Yeah, I had seen a photo of like downtown San Diego just packed with people, and then on the San Diego subreddit afterwards, someone had said like, "Way to go, staying classy, San Diego. No incidents, despite the number of people there," which is really cool.
That's awesome. We took the kids to our local No Kings protest here in Atascadero, little old Atascadero, at this one major intersection, and I tell you what, the people showed up. I have no idea how many it actually was. Maybe you can ask Google, Devon, but I was expecting like some crowds on the 4 corners of this intersection, and there were, but then they stretched down the road, thick with people, lots of cheering, lots of honking. There were 2 people and of course in trucks with big old flags that would hound us from time to time, but people just kind of ignored them, and they just kind of drove through. They didn't even give a finger or anything. They just loudly went through on their trucks, just okay, sure. And so beyond that, it was really cool. Like the kids made signs that were like I just had a really simple one, just no kings, right? Like regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, there are no kings in America. That's that. I mean, first off, 1776, number 1, rule 1, no kings. That was the whole point. So when people start acting like kings, no matter what side you're on, that's bad. But I don't have to tell people listening to this podcast because you like science. Right. So kings are unscientific. No. So anyways, it was cool. The kids made signs that were like, K is for kindness. And I made one that just said no kings. Martine made one that was the only what was it? The only minorities making America bad are the billionaires, something like that. I think she worded it a little bit better, but it was, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And we met up with some people there, and that was cool. Yeah, very well attended, and there were I didn't see any issues, so that was great. And then after that, for the rest of Saturday, I got to run a Mutant Crawl Classics game.
Oh, look at you.
Look at me go. Let's transition just a little bit here. This is once again at Greg's house, the great collector of gaming. He was nice enough to volunteer his place for us to play, and went there and set up. This was Mutant Crawl Classics. This same group played, I don't know, it was a while ago, month and a half ago, something like that. It was a while ago, it feels like. Maybe it was less. Time still makes no sense. But we did a level 0 funnel. And just to quickly recap what that is, everyone had like 4 characters, level 0, super weak. They had to go through a rite of passage in this world, which is a post-apocalypse, jungle hothouse planet with super high-tech ruins everywhere. Super fun, mutants and manimals and plantients, all kinds of nonsense. And so through the course of this funnel, the characters are killed off until you're only left with maybe 1 or 2 that survive, and then they turn into your level 1 characters. So it kind of a built-in backstory, and it's fun to just like, kill off your weak characters. Like, what's in that room? I don't know. Send in the weird one, and then you find out, it was a big pile of death was in there. Good thing now we know. So this session was everyone was at level 1, and the level 0 funnel was from the book, the rule book. There was one printed in there. This was something that I made, taking inspiration from the book and stuff. Actually, I just heard a noise. I need to mute my other Discord channels here real quick so that the sounds don't come through. There we go. Sorry about that. So this level 0 or this level 1 session now was cool because we had travel to a place, and it was a big tower. While you're traveling, every day of travel, I rolled some dice, and during this week of travel, twice something happened. And I'll just explain this a little bit because I'm kind of proud of it, of the way it went. But so every day I travel, I'd roll a d6. And if it came up 1, then that means they encountered something. So then I'd move on to these other tables, a d5 table of enemies and a d12 table of things, environmental things. So the time they encountered something, I'll just talk about this one because we're kind of pressed for time this episode, and I could talk about this for an hour probably. But what was fun,
and you have, which is great.
I have before. I mean, so this game went from, I think we started around 3:30. We went until 7, and we just stopped because one guy was like, I have to go now. Like, this was my limit. I got to go home. So that was fun. That we were all locked in for hours. But it was cool. So it was like the enemy was like this crazy floating plant that'll grab you and try to eat you, right? This mutant plant thing. That was the enemy. And then
as they often are. And the environmental thing was a bottomless pit. And they're traveling through like this jungle. So I was like, all right, you're traveling through the jungle, you come across this big, seemingly bottomless pit. And all I had to do was say that. I did not even mention that there might be enemies around, and the role play immediately started like, we're going to go over, we're going to look, we're going to see how deep it is, we're going to throw something in, all this stuff. And so I'm just letting them go, just like letting them investigate around, like what's up with the pit. And then I had them all roll a luck check to see who's being lucky and who's being unlucky. And someone passed the luck check really well, and I say, okay, as everyone's looking in this hole, you notice this big plant thing hiding off to the side, and then we end up doing like a combat and all that, and moved on. But that was a whole lot of fun, rolling on random tables and coming up with a really simple scenario quickly, and just letting the players kind of figure things out. And it was fun. It was like they just started like, what can we throw in this hole?
How long until you hear something? Is it dark? What's happening? And all that kind of stuff. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did something similar with the tower that they were exploring. And there's plot reasons, but I designed it so that level 1 through, I want to say 6, every level I had a table of 10 different options for what each level would have on it. And so every level I would just roll and be like, all right, on this level, this is what's happening. And then try to survive it. And some levels had nothing. Some levels had some enemies. Some had little puzzles to solve. And the tower in total is like, I want to say it's 12 stories. We got all the way up to the 9th story. And then we had to stop the game, which is good because at the top of this thing is like the big boss fight, of course. So the next time we play, it'll just be a couple of floors to like kind of get back into the groove of things, and then like the big finale, which, you know, the big finale will probably take a couple hours on its own. So that's like a whole nother session right there, just ready to go. As the judge, which is what they call the DM, the GM for Mutant Crawl Classics, it was a lot of fun running with tables and just randomness. There was a beautiful piece of role playing by everyone when they found a super high tech cybernetic arm that they discovered would automatically attach itself if an arm was severed. And one of the players decided he wanted his arm severed right now to get the cybernetic arm. And
yikes!
That was a lot of fun. I think that was the high point of the session, because at one point everyone at the table is just yelling and screaming like, "I'm gonna hold him down! I'm gonna hit him with the axe!" And, you know, just all this stuff. And in the end, it took a couple of axe swings before that arm was severed. But then, there goes the cybernetic arm on a fox type manimal. Which is like half man, half animal fox creature, now has a human right cybernetic arm, which gives them +6 strength. Oh. So fun time with Mutant Crawl Classics. It's wacky. It's fun. There's stone axes and there's lasers and there's mutants, and it's amazing. It's a fun game. And then to wrap this up, about 20 minutes ago, well, more than that, maybe about an hour ago, I decided, you know what? I need to watch Predator Killer of Killers on Hulu. Because Predator's awesome. This is an animated thing. It looks cool. And I finally needed to hook up Hulu to my Disney Plus account. So I did it all in one shot. It's like a movie, but it's split up into segments. I was only able to watch one of the segments, which is the 800 AD Vikings segment. And if you want to watch Vikings and a Predator fight, watch this. It is exactly what's on the tin, and it is fun. So, yeah, 100%. And that story was about 20 minutes long, and then at the end of it, there's like a little mysterious scene, and then the next one started in the Japan, and I want to say like 1200 or 1300, or was it 16? It was like a significant time jump later, and then now it's, you know, Japan. So so far it's exactly what you expect. Cool fights, cool Predator stuff. Yeah, watch it if you're a fan of that kind of stuff. Devon, highly recommend. It's a fun time.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah,
very violent. All right, guys, let's move right along here on our busy Monday.
If you want to talk about violence, I've got a future now for you, friend.
Well, let's get into it. Ben, tell us, future or now?
Now. Well, this is now. This is an article from The Guardian about the Download Festival, which happened in Leicestershire. You know, I'm sure I'm butchering that.
No, that's Leicestershire. Right. Leicestershire.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Leicestershire, which happened there from the 10th to the 14th of June this year, 2026. Mm-hmm. The Download Festival rockers are told to take off their smartwatches after mosh pits spark emergency alerts.
What?
Which, I mean, okay, so like from a personal standpoint, shortly after I got my Apple Watch several years ago, I was kind of skipping down my driveway, and all of a sudden I get to the bottom of my driveway, which, as you guys know,
Very steep.
is a little steep.
Yep.
Yeah. I got to the bottom of my driveway, and my watch started buzzing and going, "Have you had a fall? We're now calling 911 in the next 30 seconds if you don't tap on this."
Oh, that's a weird Apple game. Cool.
Yeah. I was like, well, hey, thank you, but no thank you. I am good, and I've always wondered, like, okay, what sorts of things are going to set that off?
Mm-hmm.
Well, back at the heavy metal event in 2023, the Download Festival in 2023, police had received nearly 700 false collision calls to 999, which is the British 911.
Yeah,
and,
that's what Motorhead told us all about, I believe.
Yeah, right on. And so, basically they got an additional 700 calls than what they were expecting, but they were all made automatically from smartwatches and other devices worn by fans because the tech assumed that people in mosh pits had been in a collision. And so here's another type of place you may want to leave your cell phone at home if you go to, not just a rally or a protest, but also maybe a heavy metal festival.
Well, how else are you going to find if the area around you is too loud or not?
Oh, yeah, true.
I relied on my smartwatch for that.
Yeah, I mean, according to Leicester police, they said on social media this week and prep for this, like, hey, when we had a rise of nearly 700 extra calls, all of those calls had to be assessed. Like they had to treat all of them very, very, like, why wouldn't they treat them seriously? They have to ensure that there's no threat, no risk, no harm. And that takes their contact handlers away from answering true emergency calls.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
and so if you do find yourself at a mosh pit and it accidentally goes off and you do get in touch with emergency services, do stay on the line to let them know you're safe.
Yeah, because all they're going to hear is, ah!
Right. Amidst all the enjoyable chaos and energy release. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. So, but evidently, I mean, here we are. It is past the dates of it. But Green Day, Korn, and Sleep Token were the daily headline acts at the festival this year.
Wow, what a range!
Right. Yeah. I just thought that was a fascinating thing, and it's reported by a lot of different news outlets. But the first one I saw was The Guardian UK. So
that's awesome.
Thanks, Guardian.
Thank you. Thanks for guarding us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dial 999.
Or don't if you're not.
Or don't.
If you're not in a trouble.
Don't allow your technology to call it for you. Sometimes.
Well,
I don't know.
It is so nice. I mean, I guess I gotta say that that it is, as much as my smartwatch is a terrible watch, it does a lot of things that I am glad I don't need it to do all the time. But when I will need it to do it, perhaps it could actually save my life.
Yeah. I'm sure people have died in mosh pits from falling down. So,
Dude.
Settle down, everyone. Mosh safely. All right.
You're such a dad. That was like the most dad thing to say.
I am wearing a shirt that my kids got me for Father's Day, so yeah, I'm feeling the dad right now. All right. Is that it for your article there?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm gonna call this one Trash and Treasures. So last week, Devon and I both read this one, but then Devon decided to just talk about animal cruelty for an hour, so we didn't get to it.
Which, thank you, Devon.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, so this was published on June 8th from Science Daily. Of course, links in the show notes. The title is How Outdated Phones Can Power Smart Cities and Save the Seas. In a world where over 1 billion smartphones are produced yearly, a team of researchers is flipping the script on electronic waste. Instead of tossing out older phones, they've demonstrated a groundbreaking approach, turning outdated smartphones into micro data centers. This low-cost innovation, just €8 per phone. I don't know what's the euro to dollar ratio? I'm sure it's always in flux, but what's it about? Anyone know?
About 1.2, 1.4, somewhere around there.
Okay, so a euro is a little bit more than an American dollar.
Yes, so €8 would be about $9.25.
Okay,
right now,
under $10. So this low-cost innovation offers practical applications from tracking bus passengers to monitoring marine life without needing new tech. This is pretty cool because we need to figure out how to stop making all this technology. We've got too much. Technology, I mean, things, of course, are moving quickly, right? Like what's the curve? What's that curve called where like the doubling of processor speed every so many years? Like we have continued on
Moore's Law?
I think it's
Moore's Law.
Yeah, Moore's Law. Like things keep getting better, keep getting innovated, and so it then needs to be spread out and into the populace, and the old stuff goes away. So let's see. Where am I going to start reading this? The project's first stage, the researchers removed the phone's batteries and replaced them with external power sources to reduce the risk of chemical leaches into the environment. Thank you. Then 4 phones were connected together, fitted with 3D printed casings and holders, and turned into a working prototype ready to be reused, fostering sustainable practices for old electronics. The prototype was then successfully tested underwater, where it participated in marine life monitoring by helping to count different sea species. Normally, these kinds of tasks require a scuba diver to record video and bring it to the surface for analysis. But with the prototype, the whole process was done automatically underwater. Great, now they're putting scuba divers out of business. Thanks, technology. What are they going to do now? The team's results...
Is nothing safe.
It's nothing sacred anymore. The team's results show that outdated technology doesn't have to end up as waste. With minimal resources, these devices can be given a new purpose, contributing to the development of more environmentally friendly and sustainable digital solutions. This was done by researchers Huber Flores, Ulrich Norbisrath, and Xingang Yin from the University of Tartu's Institute of Computer Science, along with Perseverance Ngoy from the Institute of Technology and their international colleagues. That's a lot of crazy names. Not crazy; those are a lot of names I'm not familiar with.
Perfectly normal names that are not what we hear a lot. Okay.
Look, I just cast a spell on everyone listening. You will have good luck for the next 5 years. So to quote Huber Flores, innovation often begins not with something new, but with a new way of thinking about the old, reimagining its role in shaping the future. Pretty awesome. So yeah, old phones, instead of being tossed in a landfill or torn apart to, get to the expensive metals that are inside, and then the rest is torn apart. I think back to that scene in Blade Runner 2049, where it's like the dude with all the kids, and they're just breaking down like old technology,
all the e-waste,
to just like pull out things. And I'm like, man, I'm sure there are places like that, places on the earth, like somewhere.
Yes.
100%. So to not have to do that and instead use what we've got is wonderful. I'm getting notifications on Discord still. How do I mute? Oh, it's because I'm being messaged personally. Okay, I don't know how to mute that. Sorry for the random Discord noises, everyone. That's how the cookie crumbles. All right, so that's it for mine. Devon has nothing, it says here. So Devon's full of nothing. We're just cruising right along this episode. I like it. We're going to take ourselves a little break because we've got some book club to talk about. I'm excited because we're finally getting to the robot part of Monk and Robot, if you will. So when we come back, I hope everyone has read up on Audible chapters 4 and 5 or book chapters 2 and 3 of A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. So go read those, and we'll be right back. You ever notice how everyone in sci-fi movies has a secret society they belong to? The Jedi, the Bene Gesserit, the Illuminati, or whatever? Well, guess what? So do we. It's called our Patreon, and if you join at patreon.com/sciencefactionpodcast, you'll get access to exclusive content, our Discord, and knowledge that normal listeners will never understand. Join us, or remain in the dark. Your call. And we're back.
Yo.
Hey.
Hi.
And a big thank you to our patrons. You know who you are, and you know what you did. Thank you.
And we're proud of you for doing it.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, let's get back into our coverage of A Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. Right off the bat, Ben. That's hard to say. What are we doing next week?
Sure thing. Yeah. So this week, as you mentioned, we're reading the chapter "The Best Tea Monk in Panga," and the chapter "Splendid Speckled Mosscat." Next week, we're continuing with the next 3 chapters, which is, and if you're looking at Audible, it's chapters 6 through 8. If you're looking in the book, as I do, it's chapters 4 through 6, and it starts with an object and an animal. The 5th chapter is remnants, and the 6th chapter is called Grass Hen with Wilted Greens and Caramelized Onion.
Mm-hmm. Sounds delicious.
And a psalm for the wild built, guys.
I want to hear from Devon. We finally got to the robot? What do you think about that?
Yeah, it was good. There still hasn't been a ton of stuff going on, so it's like still a lot of setup because we just met the robot, and the robot seems fun. I think it'll be interesting. But I don't really have much more to say.
All right. So the chapter "The Best Tea Monk in Panga" is a 2-year flash forward from the previous chapter where they utterly failed at being a tea monk. And now they are well known because they took the time to figure out tea, grow their own, know what they have, the whole deal. And the chapter kind of sets up, this is how a tea monk operates. And so we got to see, like right off the bat, this is this is what they've been doing for the past 2 years. And they have perfected it. And that's wonderful. And because they have, now they're starting to feel that itch again. That they want to hear the crickets. They want to hear the crickets. And ended up doing some research about it. Hey, where them crickets at? Crickets, turns out, extinct. There's no crickets.
However, there's an audio file that was recorded at a particular place that is out in the middle of the wilderness, and that's where they want to. But I do want to kind of come back to the being a good tea monk. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I really appreciated about it was, through this you get to see the everyday lives of the people in the world. Mm-hmm. And that's super cool. But I also appreciated this one thing that I've been wrestling with in my meditation practice. But there's a quote here that someone who gets some tea and has had a really rough day. She closed her eyes and let out a tremendous sigh. Her shoulders visibly slumped. She'd always had the ability to relax them. She just needed permission to do so. And that idea, that's kind of pointing to is something that a lot of people say, well, even meditators, they go like, well, why am I even doing this? Why am I sitting down and doing all this stuff? And it's not in order to create something that is in you. It's in order for you to give yourself permission to access something that's already inside it. You know, the piece is already there.
You have to find it.
Yeah. How do you access this inner nature that is in you? And I thought that was like super cool. You know, then praise Alale, the god of small comforts that Dex is of the order of. And yeah.
So
and then,
sorry,
yeah.
The reason I was gone and I'm having trouble concentrating. The kids have been acting up. You've probably heard them in the background. I've been trying to mute my mic as much as I can. And Jen's father is here staying with us. And while I've been recording, they went into the room he's staying in, which the door was locked. So they were able to get the thing that unlocks the door.
Oh, no.
And then went in and took all his like clothes and his toiletries and medications and apparently have hidden them all around the house.
What?
And so now the kids are in trouble and we're trying to get them to show us where all the stuff is that they hid. And Jen is understandably angry. So I'm hearing all the stuff going on in the hallway and all the things. So I'm like, this is just a complete mess. So that's why I haven't been able to really concentrate on the show. I'm like, I should probably be helping.
Yes.
And it's just a whole mess. So
yeah,
that's fine. We'll catch up with you next week. Dude. You go.
Yeah,
it's fine
for sure.
All right. So sorry about that, guys.
No worries. Hey, life comes first, and it comes at you fast.
Yeah.
All right.
Don't you guys next time.
Don't beat your kids too hard. We'll see you next week.
Ooh.
Devon doesn't beat his kids.
He does not.
All right. See you later, Devon. All right. So, wow. Call CPS on Devon now. Man, you know, kids are gonna kid. That's crazy. And I'm sure from their point of view, it was like, let's have some fun. Let's break into our grandfather's room and steal his medication and hide it. What fun we'll have.
Yeah. I put a suggested title in our document. The robot seems fun, but the kids are in trouble.
That's good. That's amazing. I think we'll use that. All right. So
yeah. So okay, we're basically like Dex as a T-monk, and then also Dex as someone who finds people attractive. Like
yeah.
Mr. Cody.
Mm-hmm. With the single dad of twins. Maybe not single, but the dad of twins.
Yeah. Right. With arms that split logs and a smile that could make a person forget all concept of linear time. But the two babies strapped to his torso, one squealing on the front, one dead asleep on the back, made Dex keep any thought about the rest of Mr. Cody's anatomy completely to himself. What's
great about Becky Chambers' writing is she does not shy away from the natural sexuality of people. Like this is stuff that we think about. We as people constantly think about. And she includes it in her writing without it being a focus. It's just another facet of being human, being alive. And
exactly, yeah.
I think
being a monk doesn't preclude that in this world.
Definitely not.
Yeah. And so it's interesting, and that's okay. All right, let's talk Star Wars for a second.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
Let's talk about Star Wars. The Jedi, right? Like so so Anakin loves Padme.
Yeah.
Right. Does not say that the problem is love. In fact, goes very far to say that the problem is holding on to things.
Attachment.
The problem is, attachment. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so here, all of Dex's, relationship, well, there does not seem to be much relationship in all of this. Dex is just a human being living as a human would, but also has no attachment, to another person. The thing that they do have an attachment to is when they're, and spoilers for a little bit later, they're when they've sought shelter in their van when there's a bear outside, and suddenly realizes, oh wow, I'm in a place that, like, I know that this van is bear proof from prior experience, but me being in the van, like, maybe this wasn't such a great idea about me being here. So that's interesting, like the attachment,
yes,
and lack of it.
That's good monk stuff. Not so good for the Jedi.
No.
I mean, there was a whole run in the Clone Wars with Obi-Wan and Satine,
right, from Mandalore.
Yeah, Bo-Katan's sister, I don't remember. And he even says, like, if you would have asked me to leave the Jedi Order, I would have. And it's like, oh, Obi-Wan was close. But then she died. So, oops. Spoilers. So, splendid speckled moss cap. Dex decides, I'm going to go to this monastery that's out in the middle of nowhere, because maybe there's crickets there. And on the way, it's like, oh man, maybe this was a bad idea, but I chose to do it anyway. And is listening to music, taking a shower, setting up camp, gets out of the shower. I left my towel. I'm still dancing. I'm naked. And then out of the forest comes a robot.
Right.
Like, what a... And just starts talking like, hey, what's up? I'm a robot. How can I help you?
Haven't seen one of your kind in 200 years. Not alive, at least.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. They're like, oh, what do you mean you've seen people? Well, not alive. Yeah. So splendid speckled moss cap, named after the first thing they see when they awaken, are activated. From this point on, just called moss cap for short. Is a robot. We're going to learn more about them later, but they just kind of show up and are like, hey, I'm here. I want to know what humans need. Like how can I help energy, right?
Yeah. The robots left 200 years ago, and we want to see how you guys are handling that. Like we kind of stepped away right when it seemed like you needed us. Are y'all doing okay?
Yeah, you doing all right? You doing all right there, humans?
Yeah.
We could use some of that. Just have some robots come out of our forests and be like, hey, you guys need some help.
Right.
Yes. What if it was Bigfoots? A bunch of Bigfoots come out and go, hey, humans, it's been a while. Looks like you're up to no good again. Let's fix this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But I think that, like, also there's a lot there, and then you get to learn a little bit about the robots, about their respect for the natural world, and then also, like, they Moscap recognizes all the gods that are painted on the outside of the van that Dex is living in, and they say, like, I didn't expect you to know the gods. And Moscap says, if you mean the custom of human religion, we know everything we observed of you during our time together. But as for the gods themselves, they're everywhere and in everything. Moscap smiled at Dex. Surely you know this.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, that leads the reader to think, like, okay, how... If the robots also envision a god of the gaps, if you will, like, I don't understand this, must be a god. Like, that's kind of where my mind was at when I first read that bit. Like, that's like, okay, so how similar to humans are these robots? And then within that same scene, or very close to it, they ask, Dex has a math problem of some sort, and Moscap's like, oh, hold on, let me think about that. I'm not very good at math.
Yeah, I can't do that and talk at the same time.
Right. And they're like, what do you mean you're a robot? They're like, do you know how hard it is to be conscious? It's very difficult.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But like also, when Dex asks like, hey, how do you know all the gods? Like, I didn't expect that. And Moscap says, well, I think like you do because someone like you made us. How could I think any other way?
Yeah. I mean, that is like when we talk about how our AI, quote unquote, works now, how a lot of it's just reformatted, regurgitated stuff from humans. There's nothing so far that's like made from nothing. It's all been, the internet has been analyzed, and that's what it uses to respond with probabilities of increasingly correct probabilities of what the answer should be. It's all human human thought and type manipulated. Of course it comes from us, right? And so if we get to robot times, what Moscap says makes complete sense. I think this way because you people made me. Makes sense.
Yep. Yeah. And so we basically Moscap then kind of realizes that like you get a little bit more about like what Moscap was expecting. And basically Moscap had it had come out and was like was figuring that that it was going to learn by trial and error, but instead now it has found itself a guide in Dex,
right?
And asks Dex, hey, can I come with you on all of your tea monkness, and like learn about the people and ask everybody, like interview everybody along the way. What do you need? Are your needs being met? And Dex, they're like, well, that's really not the journey I'm on at the moment. I'm looking for crickets.
I'm looking for crickets.
And
that's when they kind of come together a bit. And Moscap is like, I got it. I'll help you find this monastery, find these crickets, and then you help me. Deal? And then a bear walks in. but yeah, I don't remember the exact order of events, but that's essentially like our introduction to Moscap. Also, Moscap says that they don't feel things how humans do, and then demonstrates it by ripping a piece of chest plating off of itself and being like, no, it's fine. These are my insides. Look, I can put it back on. Clunk. It explains that it's powered. There's like a solar coating on its back, for power, but it also has an internal power source. Dex can hear like whirring and clicking inside, so it feels like a very analog machine. Which is kind of cool. Like, I like that idea of robots versus the like so futuristic it's just essentially a person,
Right.
This feels like a thing, not a person in many ways.
In the cozy punk aesthetic that it's setting up, right, where all of these things are all the technology that they do rely on, they are things that are not thrown away and then getting a new one. No, they're being modified, they're being upgraded, they're being fixed and
I know
as time goes on.
Later on we get into that a bit deeper. I don't remember if it was in this book or if it's the next book, but
I mean they do mention it. In fact a little bit earlier there was a that when Dex is looking at their pocket computer, they call it a device built to last a lifetime, as all computers
what?
Were.
As all
computers are devices built to last a lifetime in this world.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, and so pocket computers that last and last, like it's, and so basically the end of this chapter goes, Dex decides, okay, we're going to go together. You know, the next phase of this is going to be Dex and Mosscap heading to the Hermitage in order to try to find some crickets, but the road is probably washed out in a bunch of places because people haven't been out
maintained there. Right, this is an area that's no longer maintained. There's like warning signs and stuff, and of course Dex, if we remember, Dex is on a bike that is pulling a wagon, essentially like a big old wagon. So yeah, things might get rough, a little rough going next. But man, what a good book.
Right? Yeah. But I think that, like, upon reading it the second time, there was a question that popped up just this last week as I was going through this. Is this story science fiction or is it fantasy?
I think so far this is sci-fi.
Okay.
Because there's no space magic, right? Like Star Wars is science fantasy because there is space magic. Space magic wizards are there. Yeah. And a lot of the technology is very hand wavy. Like, oh yeah, hyperspace. That's just what the spaceships do. And it's never like explained like, oh, there's a warp bubble that it connects to a wormhole that, blah, 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 blah. No, it's we pull the lever, the stars streak, and now we're where we want to go. And this book,
I think another thing that Star Wars has too is it has like civilizations that have lasted thousands of years, and technology has not.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I watched a thing, I think probably on YouTube at some point. They talk about how Star Wars is set during a post-apocalypse, essentially. Like the peak of the galaxy is way gone, and there's a lot of people just reusing and being, subsistence, and and there's an argument for that in Star Wars, which I enjoy. But I was going to say in this book, they explain the only magical bits so far, and what I can remember, is that the robots gain consciousness, and that's never really explained in a technical manner, and I don't think it needs to. But to me, that's the one sci-fi bit. The rest of it is all based in reality. We could, be more conscious of recycling and reusing, and there's no nanotech we can just do. No, people are reusing things, rebuilding things, just living in a very different way. Look up solar punk when you have a chance. That is a very much let's live with the environment, not bend the environment to our will. And that is this book is also called Solar Punk, by the way.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Check that. That's a using technology to not interrupt Mother Nature, but to work along with it. So think solar panels and stuff. That's why it's solar punk. We put this out, it absorbs just like a tree would, but in a technological way. And, and so the little bits that we've gotten of civilization feel like that. They feel like they could be real. There's no magic. Right. And I say magic in a science fiction way of it's a technology that does whatever the writer wants it to do. This book to me, strictly opinion here, feels very grounded in that sense.
Okay. I guess part of it, what made me think about this is that we're getting so much information about the moon of Panga, right? But no information about the space travel, if there was any. I'd always assumed, and reading this the first time, that these humans were offshoots from Earth.
It's like a colony or something. Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
But there is literally no discussion about any space travel in either of the two books.
Right.
Right. There is, it is entirely terrestrial based on this, or lunar based, or Pangan based.
Yeah.
Which feels like the sort of thing that a fantasy novel would have. It's like, oh no, the world is just called Panga, and this is just, these are the rules of it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, from a world building, it does have some interesting similarities with fantasy by its omission of things.
Fantasy by omission.
Right.
Like, I think in a more meta way, maybe Becky Chambers she's written a lot of space sci-fi and just wanted to omit that from this and not have it be a point. Because the story that she's telling has nothing to do with colonizing or the spreading of humans, or like, this could very well be part of the Wayfarer series of like, oh yeah, this is just some colony that got left behind and we don't communicate with anymore, and it's been 1,000 years,
like an offshoot of the Exodin fleet.
Exactly. It could be that. I mean, the fact that it's not talked about means that that's not the point of the story, right? And I also would posit to say that she wanted to break away from I have to deal with Earth in this story. Like, if this was a future Earth, well, now we got to think about, how did we get here? What happened? How is it different? Instead, all that just got pushed away. No, this is a new place. How they got here, I don't know. Happened several hundred years ago. People don't even think about it because it's not required for this story. So that's kind of from a meta standpoint how I see that not being talked about. But it does give it a different feel, a different vibe. And for it to be understood as fantasy, like, yeah, I see in my mind's eye these people more like like Waterworld or something, right? Where it's just like a strange and different but they're still people wearing clothes. They're not tribals. They're not future people. They're somewhere in the middle, They have some technology, some stuff they do the old ways. There's lots of farming and stuff. It's just so unique. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, agreed.
Well, anything else we want to say about this before we wrap it up?
No, I'm all good.
All right.
Man.
Excellent.
I mean, we'll say more. We have many more. We have a few more chapters to go.
Yeah. Oh, I wanted to mention. I'm listening to this on Audible, and my wife and I share an Audible account. And the other day, she was like, "Oh, I finished the books I was listening to, and I don't have any more credits." But she's like, "Did you get this Psalm thing? Like, what is that?" I was like, "Oh," and I quickly explained to her what it was all about. And I was like, "You should listen to it." She's like, "Oh, it's only like 4 hours long." I was like, "Yeah," because she was coming off of 30-hour books and stuff. And so she's listening to it and is enjoying it. So, sci-fi for everyone.
Yes, it is. It's one that I've been like, oh, maybe my son would like this. If I could ever encourage him to read a book.
I mean, sometimes I will listen to something while playing a video game. Just throwing that out there. Like the kids have been interested in Minecraft lately, and like, Dad, play Minecraft. We want to watch, because they're, it's fine. So I'll play it. And then I got kind of like back into it a bit and started doing it on my own. And I would listen to a book or a podcast or even like a YouTube video that I don't need to watch the video part of it while I'm playing Minecraft. And it's like, oh yeah, this is fine. I could do two things at once because I'm just mining blocks. It's all good. So anyways, that's hints and tips for how to train your children in the 21st century.
We will see, man. We will see.
Oh, it's hard. All right.
I do appreciate it, man. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. That's it for this episode. Devon had to check out. I'm sure I left all that in so we know why. Hopefully back next week. And do you have any last words, Ben?
Oh yeah, 100 years ago, two brothers claimed they could fly. Well, they were right.
Good night, everybody.
This has been the Science Faction Podcast. Tweet to the host at SciFact Podcast. Email them at sciencefactionpodcast@gmail.com and visit sciencefactionpodcast.com for more episodes.